I must say it's been wow for me to listen to the various and wonderful experiences that was presented yesterday and today. And before coming here, I was wondering what's that I'm going to contribute to this group, because I'm not a soil scientist, neither I'm an neither an agricultural scientist. I'm actually a professor of international business who's been trying to work with farmers for the last about 10 years. And now I've been trying to become a farmer, a not very successful farmer. I'm presenting, or I'm putting myself a dream that in 5 years' time I actually go and live in a farm and have my own farm. So this is the condition. So I'm actually very grateful to both Professor Raina and Richa for having invited me into this. But I'm going to share with you some interesting complications that exist, why despite all this wonderful work, these things don't work out. So this is a small experiment which is just about 10 months or maybe 9 months old. It's an, can you just help me with this? I just can't remove this. Let me just do and enlarge this. So it's just a small experiment, about 10 months old. It's just a 1 hectare sustainable agricultural system model farm. I'm going to show that just to build my credibility that I also work on the farm. Not to say that this is anything new, because there's so much of knowledge in this room. And this is just a transition method, and my work is more to figure out how to transit out or help small farmers or help the communities to transit to sustainable agricultural system and sustainable communities as a whole. So it's just those photos I'm going to show you a little bit and show what's been the improvements. But my main concern is about this, that yes, these are in fact the principles that we arrived at in 2016 January, when we had a national roundtable discussion on sustainable agricultural system, where Dr. Raina actually said that instead of looking for specific prescriptions, which is very unique to specific ecosystems, we could look for certain principles which works across different ecosystems. So these are the 5 variables that we could think of, which are fundamental to any kind of ecosystem where you can make farm sustainable or farmer sustainable. So seed, soil, moisture, not water, farm diversity, and farm ecology. Now this is very exciting, because this also helps me to understand how we have destroyed our agriculture. It also helps me to think of how you can reconstruct agriculture. Now if you look at being a professor of international business and management and strategy of firms, I work largely on organizational design, not on this, but I'm entering there. Farm diversity is the first attack point from the market systems. Markets work on specialized commodities, and that promotes single crop manufacturing or production. And that's the first method through which we destroy diversity in the farm, and we go to monocropping. Once that is done, then in order to remain productive and generate income, we look for external inputs. And the first inputs, the threats, is on the seeds and on the soil inputs, because soil is nearing to become dead, and we have enough evidence to see that. It's not dead, as we were discussing yesterday, and Deepak Bhai was saying, soil always has something, as drawing from Rupela's understanding. Soil always has, but we are nearing dead. In other words, these are 2 extremes. We don't exist in these extremes, but we were somewhere here, but largely towards the left. Our farming systems are largely towards the left today. So once the diversity is lost, then we try to make the soil, somehow external inputs comes in, and that makes it more dead. The seeds are bought from outside because that's how the corporations work. That's the most important value to a farmer. Just like technology is the core to competitiveness in global competitive markets, for farming, seed is the DNA. If you lose seeds, then you can be sure that we are in control of some other agency. So the first attack, which Vandana Siva has been talking about so strongly, that's an area where the companies will look for to control. And once that is controlled, the engine, for instance, the formula of Pepsi and Coke, if someone learns, then everything is over for Pepsi and Coke. That's the basic technology. So that has everything there. So all this, when moves towards left, your ecology also start getting eroded or destroyed. Now that's the way. Now that's how we have destroyed our system, as I would understand. But how do you reconstruct? If it is in a destroyed setting, how do I reconstruct, or where do I start intervening first? And the first intervention that I understand, and this little experiment also would suggest, and this is where I would like to learn from all of you, the first intervention seems to be to work on water, on moisture. That is the life system. Then to get to soil. Then to look for seeds. Improve diversity in the farm. And of course, we have several examples, that's what they have done. And then automatically build the farm ecology. Now, this I'm talking not at a policy level for the country or a state or a village, I'm talking at a farm level. At a farm level, it is possible, and if it is not possible, then it's not possible in the larger system. So this is how do you reconstruct, how possibly we can go about reconstructing this destroyed agricultural system. Now this is a little experiment of how this land was like, and this was actually a challenge posed at the round table, that we're talking about these principles, can we actually make it work on the ground? And May 2016 we started. After the conference of the round table, we were trying to figure out a piece of land where we can do all this, and the process started. This is the condition, original condition, with plastics and all this. Is an urban location in Bhubaneswar. So, and of course, just to again tell you that I was also part of the process. This was the trench. Subhash Sharma was the farmer, the key knowledge giver, but of course, Deepak Suste is there. There are other farmers who were also part of this knowledge sharing system. These are all local farmers from Orissa. Some of them are well known. Radha Mohan, Natwar Sarangi, the government officials were also involved. The social science professors all were involved. And this is what we saw. This was the first attempt to get water to this farm, in situ water conservation. And the next set of slides is showing what happened within 6 months, the same piece of land from where it was. So then, of course, this is where we were trying to also do time and motion studies to understand how farmers work, look at farmers, how they're working, to figure out how the cost reduction and efficiency of this farming can improve. The ones which are more green are actually those combination of 5 crops which are cut and put as mulching. And the one which is worked upon is the arhar plant, which you'll see subsequently. So this is the mulching process to improve soil life in the plot. Well, this is all photos. You can see these are all dhanicha and all that combination of crops. It's a cut and put as mulch. Rains come, and of course it was looking horrible. I was not a farmer, so I was feeling sad that the plants are all lying down and actually lay down, but gradually they came up. That's probably what is nature. And this is how we went about. So almost 6 to 9 inches of biomass was on the soil. One set of crops. Of course, I love this, so we had a great time. We all enjoyed with children and everyone coming in there. This is how it changed by November. By October, November, this is how. So we had taken off one crop and we were putting another crop. So water was from the stored. We conserved around 92 lakh liters of water in 1 hectare of land. And the height of the water on the well has increased, and we are going to measure end of May and figure out how much. We are also measuring how much water we are using, so that we also know how much we have conserved, how much we have used, and and then see what's the balance. Of course, the cropping, all inefficient methods we're trying to do, but no farming knowledge like we have here Deepak ji or many other farmers. So in our own ways we're trying, because this is what a normal ordinary farmer would go through, and how do I codify these processes is my only effort. These are other methods of these are crops, the tomatoes. This is the field that it looked like in 6-8 months. This is the crop. Of course, 3 types of arhar there. 3 arhar seeds are put so that we understand which is more. In fact, the figures that also is a combination of all this, the yield, but some seeds show better result in this condition than the other because of the climatic condition that we have there. These are, of course, people, a lot of them visiting recently. Yeah. We had the symposium and participants from all over the country. Some of course, I didn't know everyone, so I could only invite few. But subsequently, I think the network would be better. With Dr. Peter Kenmore over there, you can see. Professor Raina couldn't come, a lot of engagements here. So this is profitable, extremely profitable. We put it in just 2 months back, and you see that at least 6 liters of milk every day, and more important, cow dung and urine to the farm. Very interestingly, you can see here the 3-4 pillars where Dr. Kenmore, Deepak Suchde, Subhash Sharma, and of course I was just a student, been a student for all of them. So of course many more scientists working there. Now these were immediate cost benefit. This is typically a farmer would look for. Not the best of results, but you can see the initial condition to what it has gained. So you see that here is about 200 kilos of maize in about 500 square feet of the land. Methi, dhania, chana, wonderful. We all tasted, we're enjoying that, been enjoying that. 600 kilos of tomato in about 200 square feet. 150 kg of brinjal, continuing production on, again in around 200 square feet. 550, that's in 1.5, that's an average. But if I take the best crop, it comes to around 12 quintals per acre. Per hectare. That's the estimate that's coming. Last night we were discussing, but it's an average figure. Milk 6 liters per day. Turmeric, but that 10 quintals also, as per the best farm that we have in Deepak Suchde, he would take us to 60. So that's only 1/6 of the production possibilities. But then, given the initial condition and the current condition, I think that's what a farmer would look for. Turmeric, banana, drumstick, mango, papaya. 2 honey boxes are also there, wonderful production there. And more importantly, cow dung, urine on daily basis. Water conservation, in one season, we had 92 centimeter of rainfall, and as estimated yesterday also, someone shared that. 1 lakh liter of water per hectare is what actually you get. And now how much of water can you retain is your challenge, or is the opportunity that you can think of. Organic carbon, from 0.33 in 6 months, it went up to 0.48. And let's see how it changes over time, and with more understanding of roots, grass, I think we can improvise this better. What I want to say is actually that this is all right. This is technique, this is technology, this is principle of science, of agriculture, and it works. It's no more a questionable subject. Globally, agroecology has taken roots. So there is no questions on that. But even then, why are we likely to fail? That's where my actual work is about. Now, this is what we are talking about, production. You also talked about, some of them talked about producer organization, looking at community organizations. So all this is an issue. Then you also have governance. Please do not forget the local community. If you say the village has to work as a group, the panchayat has to work as a group, these have significance on the ecosystem. And therefore, how contradictions there would actually create problems. And then, of course, the most important is the government and the institutions. This is the most threatening institutions that we have, because these are actually destroying the relationships. And of course, foundations to all that is about how actors relate to each other, actants relate to each other, how actors and actants relate with each other in an ecosystem situation. Now that's fundamental to all other layers, and each of them have number of variables, and this is very complex and very important to look at holistically to understand why, even if you're technically good, sound, intent-wise, you're there, but it will not work out because it's very complex. What you see here is you just saw the first 5 issues in agricultural production. Same way it would go into farmer-producer companies that you talk about, or you can think of local governance or institutions. At the core of it, we are actually structured to become hierarchical, but ecology is more non-hierarchical. At the heart of heart, our caste system, our religions, our belief, our training, education. As an economist, I am looking at deduction, not induction. I am positivistic. So there are a lot of challenges. So most on all these variables, when you look at, it appears that we are more towards the left, but we want to move towards right, and we have to figure out how to transit out. And just working on agriculture alone is not enough. We have to take a community. I would urge every one of us to actually identify a community, a GP, where I want to dedicate my life on working on all this. It has to be a holistic attempt, like some of you are already doing, but take the community. I think that's the way forward. Of course, it's just the beginning of my work. There's a long way to go, but these are the challenges that we have. So it's not easy. Even if I have an intent, even if I have the technology, I have to work on multiple layers. We have to work together on multiple layers to make it work, to make communities sustainable. Thank you so much.
Myself, Dr. S.K. Chauhan. My question to the panel is this. I am a supporter of the natural farming, no doubt, because nature plays its own role within the ecosystem. But if suppose some deficiency of one particular element is there in the soil, and that cannot be replaced by natural means. So how can we use the natural these elements for that to compensate the deficiency of that particular element in that soil?
For me, yeah.
Okay, Gopalji. I think that should be the last question. I think then we can get into answers.
This is a very complex, and the more I'm hearing, I'm getting more confused. I want to ask each of the panel members, what is another point's view that you want to build in what you are doing? Don't tell me what you are doing, but tell me what is the other person. You heard 6 of them, right? So let the 7th guy tell me what of one of them do they pick as a takeaway, as something that they would like to add on, because that's how we have to progress. You know, each doing our own good stuff is God's work, fine. But you know, when you are talking of something like this.
Good morning, everyone. My question is to the whole panel. Yes, just like we saw yesterday, there are 2 groups here. One is totally believe in the organic farming and just like biodynamic agriculture, and the other is who believe in the use of chemicals to improve the soil health. So my question is there any government policy which collaborates both of them? If I go to a doctor, if I have vitamin D deficiency, first of all, he will give me pills for the short term, and then he will recommend me that take good food for the vitamin D. So is there any policy that makes first of all makes the soil enrichment of the vitamin from these fertilizers and use of the chemicals, and then use of organic manure for the sustainability? So
Okay. Yes.
My last evening's discussion, the significance of root and microorganisms relationship, even on rock, which he was sharing the night. And of course, how to get away from petroleum-based energies, so which is solar energy. And I want to actually visit his farm and see how he's actually integrating this. So that's the second thing that I took from him. And although Deepak didn't speak here today, I know him, but we have discussed. And also getting back to the root and microorganisms, that's very significant. I want to explore more. And he also was referring to the consumption pattern that we have, and that sometimes we probably are consuming more than what we need, and we're wasting energy of the body in that consumption process. So that's something that I will explore further. From David, I think what I take home is more from the practice on the dynamics in the community and how he managed that for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, one hole is digging and how the community responds after that. So that's something significant to understand the dynamics, how you engage the community, and how do you get the community to work with the idea that you were suggesting. With Janesh, I think it's more from policy and consumers. I'm going to be asking for references from medical science journals, which is recommending this kind of practice. So it pushes the idea to go for these kind of practice. So policy and consumers both.
But really, we are really short of time. Could you please?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sachin, I have
Only address to.
Sachin, soil testing, I would use both, not only for awareness, but maybe also to create fear that this is your soil test situation, and then get the commitment of people to get into this, because replication is a challenging task. So I would actually use soil testing both for awareness and a fear mechanism to get people to commit to get into this activity. For good breed, biomass on the farm, and again building on deeper price, pulverization of biomass to get the biomass process going. So it's been significant, Gopal. It's a great meeting here.
Sir, one minute. Jawan's question to whom?
1 minute. Let